Thank you,
Okay, Tea
Eric.
Partiers have gone from being dismissed to being derided by Democrats and feared by the Republicans. The Christian Science Monitor declaring today the Tea Party has gone, quote, mainstream. Are they brewing a revolution? And what impact will they have in the weeks ahead? Monica Crowley is a Fox News contributor, and Mark Sawyer is a political science professor at UCLA. Mark, I'm going to start with you, my friend. What's the fear? I mean, it seems like the Democrats are, like Andrew Breitbart said, trying to divide and conquer the conservatives, calling Tea Partiers really far fringe right.
Nothing could be further from the truth. And in fact, I'm really disappointed with this commentary. In fact, as a patriotic American, I just got some data from my good friend Chris Parker at University of Washington that gave me some disturbing findings about Tea Partiers. It says 65% of them don't believe that blacks work as hard as whites. And the most powerful predictor of whether you support the Tea Party movement is negative views about blacks. What does being black or blacks have to do with your feelings about spending or a health care bill? Absolutely nothing. And that's a disturbing part about this movement.
I don't think that's very fair. I'm not sure. I haven't seen that poll. I'm looking at a Gallup poll that calls, that breaks it down. The Tea Party Republicans about 49% and everyone else about 51%. I don't think I've ever heard the Tea Party classify themselves as pro-black, pro-white, anything other than small government.
No, but when you look at the association with there's always been an association with the idea that there's a subtle whisper that small government or big government means that you're going to spend money on blacks. And that's what comes out in these public opinion polls. When you ask them their opinions about blacks, it's very predictive of what they think about the Tea Party movement. And they're more likely to support it if they hate blacks. It's scary to me as a patriotic.
Monica Crowley, is that fair to say that there's a slow whisper? If you spend more money, you're going to spend it on blacks?
I find this particular argument to be completely despicable and outrageous without a shred of proof. I've been to tea parties. I have spoken at tea parties. There are whites, there are blacks, there are Hispanics, there is every race represented. And in fact, today there was a Gallup poll polling the Tea Party movement, actually taking a close look at the members of the Tea Party movement, and it actually reflects mainstream America in terms of ethnic background, gender background, and racial background. So it's a reflection. It's an absolute reflection. Check the Gallup poll, Mark. And I also find this argument of attacking the Tea Party movement as racist as being the lowest of the low. I mean, this is the most despicable charge that anybody can level in America. And Mark, without any proof, I find it totally irresponsible for you or for anybody else to make that argument.
Go ahead, Mark. What about it? I mean, listen, because I'm going to tell you, I have yet to hear anyone from the Tea Party or Tea Party organizers bring race into it. It's always from day one been about size of government spending. We want smaller government. Go ahead.
You've not seen the racist signs at the movement events.
Where are they, Mark?
With Obama as a witch
nobody
doctor.
has seen
The monkey signs. You haven't seen them.
No,
Obama supports white slavery.
No.
I've shown those slides myself. I have pictures of them. They're on the internet for anyone to find. Look, I'm a social scientist. I don't want to have these findings. I'm a patriotic American. I enjoy interacting with my neighbors, but these findings really disturb me, and it's we have to talk about them. I don't like talking about race. It's a difficult thing for a kid like me from the South Side of Chicago, but it's unfortunate when you find this thing with this
Mark,
kind of stuff in the data.
Let me just pursue this with you. Let's assume, for the sake of argument, let's just stipulate that perhaps there were one or two people who did a despicable thing and held up a racial sign. Are you willing to smear
I'm talking about the attitude.
Wait a minute. Are you willing to
smear
I'm talking
about the
millions of people who show up at these tea parties, and this has nothing whatsoever to do with race? Are you willing to paint with that broad a brush, smearing millions of Americans as racist? I don't think you want to do that.
Monica, the problem is that you don't understand social science. What I'm talking about is the attitudes.
I have a PhD in political science. I know exactly what you're talking about and exactly what you're doing here.
So explain to me, tell me that the correlation between anti-black racism and support for the Tea Party movement, showing that that's a significant correlation. It's the most powerful other than party ID. It's almost close, statistically significantly close to those two. Tell me that that's a problem. And if you're a political scientist, you know that is. And it's just direct political science.
I want to see your statistics, Mark. I want to see some proof. You can't go and tar a whole class of people as racists in this country. You know that is the most powerful charge you can make in America, and I think that by you doing it, and frankly, Mark, I know you're a nice guy, you're smart, but this is really beneath you. We're talking about opposition to the size and scope of government, and to go out there and try to beat it back with charges of racism, I think diminishes you. I'm sorry to say it, but I think that's
I don't
true.
mind people. Lots of my best friends make small government arguments. In fact, I've made small government arguments for a lot of sectors myself. That's my opinions. As a social scientist, I look at data, and the data that just came out in the new National University of Washington poll that I had the privilege of taking a look at shows these correlations, and you understand what those correlations mean. And it's very difficult. It's painful to see, and it's difficult, and we need to talk about it. And I'm sure there's a lot of elements in the Tea Party, that both in the Tea Party as well as in the Republican Party, that should and needs to distance itself from this stuff as patriotic Americans and talk about small government without connecting it to negative views about blacks or the other. And that's the way to go.
Well, Monica, is this? It just seems to me like this is, hey, you know, they're gaining momentum. It may be a divide and conquer the Tea Partiers.
Yeah, of course, because the Tea Party movement does include Republicans, of course, and conservatives, but it also is including a growing number of fiscally responsible Democrats as well as a huge number of independents. And as we know in this country, Eric, the huge majority of people that decide presidential and other elections are the independents, and they are now going with conservative candidates because they want smaller government. And to throw out this charge of racism is a red herring to try to distract everybody from what's really happening in the grassroots level in America.
Monica Crowley, Mark Sawyer, we have to leave it there. Fair and balanced. Great discussion. Appreciate both of you guys very much.
Okay, thanks a lot.
All right, on deck. Could the